Nicholas Dawidoff is the author of the brand new book, Collision Low Crossers. It's fantastic. It's about the NFL and the Jets. He's here to talk about it. Welcome, Nicholas.
Nice to be here.
All right, let's start off with the title. Why'd you name it Collision Low Crossers? It's a great title. What does it mean?
Well, I just think of the NFL as something that we see all the time, but is kind of elusive to us. We don't really know beyond what's on the television screen what's going on, and I thought that the title maybe suggested that. It's a defensive term that means that within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage, it's legal for a defensive player to hit a wide receiver or any kind of receiver and knock him off course. And I really like that sort of idea about football too, that football is always something where the best laid plans are constantly in danger of going awry. And then finally, I like titles like Zero Dark 30 and Full Metal Jacket and things like that, which they sound, to me anyway, really appealing, but they also communicate that this is something different about something you thought you knew.
And it's certainly evocative of the coach of the Jets. You embedded yourself with the Jets. Coach of the Jets is Rex Ryan, defensive genius. How'd you get inside the Jets, and how much access did you have?
How did I get inside that's a question. I mean,
Not every NFL team will let you see their operations from draft day through the entire season.
That's true. I think that, the NFL is full of people who feel that they have wonderful stories to tell but live within the bubble of the NFL. And I think that, I wrote a cover story for the New York Times Magazine about the Jets, and I got more and more interested and enthusiastic about how a football team really works. And that's not a story I think that's been told recently or in any depth. And I think that the people who had that story to tell were proud of their story, and I think I'm just glad they trusted me to tell it.
Well, how do the Jets work? If you read the New York Post or the Daily News or listen to any of New York media, it's a pretty dysfunctional team. From the owner Woody to Rex Ryan in all his episodes with the feet and with Mark Sanchez. You had Tim Tebow come in at the end of your book. Are they particularly dysfunctional or is they kind of representative of what goes on throughout the entire NFL? Because the book's not only about the Jets, but that's where you spent most of your time.
Yeah, I think the Jets are entirely emblematic of any other NFL team. I mean, one of the coaches would tell you, Bob Sutton would tell you, that the NFL is really a single corporation with 32 branch offices. And one of the reasons that the Jets were appealing is what I saw is really typical of an NFL season. I mean, the ups, the downs, the triumphs, the disappointments, the little moments of vision, all those things. And I would say that, are the Jets dysfunctional? Not at all in my experience. In fact, when the Jets are called dysfunctional, given how much time I spent with them and just what I saw, to me, it's a highly functional organization, and some of the problems that the Jets had, say, in 2011 or even this year, those are problems that every NFL team is having, and it's just a lot easier to have those problems if your quarterback's Peyton Manning or Tom Brady.
Well, if it is a corporation, let's talk about the HR function. And that starts with draft day, because you got to get the players in the door to work for your team or your organization. I thought that was a great part of the book. Why is it so hard to pick a sure thing?
I think one of the real pleasures for people in the NFL is how close the margins are, how slender they are between victory and defeat, how slender the margins are between a very, very good player and a mediocre player and even a poor player who doesn't work out. And I think it's just a really great thing about NFL football that you never really know. Even what seem to be the very best can't-miss college players can often go terribly awry. And you just can't believe how much work, how much intensity, how much effort, the algorithms, the research dossiers, the portfolios, the amount of paper that just goes into an NFL draft, the number of interviews all around the country that they're having with players and coaches and professors and parents and all of it, and still they don't really know. They won't know for 3 years.
And how much of an impact does having a quarterback make? I know you look at Peyton Manning, you look at Tom Brady, the importance of those particular players. Tell me about the Jets when it comes to their quarterback, because we've had such a quarterback controversy over the past few years. Sanchez and Tebow, and then you had Geno Smith and Sanchez. Does it come down to the quarterback?
In my opinion, the quarterback is the single most important player in team sports, big-time team sports. And that's a lot of pressure on a quarterback, of course, and it's especially a lot of pressure on a young person. And I think, Mark Sanchez's first 2 years in the NFL, he played really, really well. He was a tightly managed quarterback, and within the realm of that very efficient, somewhat conservative system, he did really well. During 2011, things regressed, and why they regressed? Again, it's one of the fascinations of football. Football is a game full of all sorts of elusive problems and obscure sort of systems and questions and things, and I just really liked all that. I like the mystery of football, and I think I think that's one of the reasons that it's so popular in the country.
Well, there's no mystery. There's a lot of problems going on in the Miami Dolphins locker room right now because of a bullying case where no one really knows what's going on. How prevalent is that type of behavior in the NFL? And do you think it's going to change after the fact that what's going on in the Miami locker room, which probably goes on in a lot of different locker rooms, has come to light?
Big negative national stories always have a change in, especially if they have to do with personal comportment and behavior. It's unavoidable that that conversation, which by the way is a conversation that's going all over the country in terms of bullying, won't have real effects in such a private public space as an NFL locker room. What I would say is that I never saw anything of the kind with the Jets, and that's my experience. But what the players told me is that this is an extremely atypical experience. But what I would also say, though, is there's a tremendous amount of teasing, and that one of the first things Rex Ryan will tell his players is that you have to have skin like an armadillo. That being said, every NFL team is made up of every kind of guy. Thick-skinned guys, sensitive guys, very talkative guys, very quiet guys. Every kind of guy is what Rex would say. And I would say that Rex, one of his many virtues as a coach, is how supportive he is of people who are quite different from him. He's got a really thick skin, and he really likes trash talking, and he likes, loud, arrogant declarations, but he's really nice to sensitive players.
All the players want to play for him. He used to have a thick middle too, but that's gone away. Thank you, Nicholas, for coming on, and thank you for watching The Street.